and welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. Katie Gehring here. On today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this spinner slider card using the Hello Stampurr stamp set that was designed by Big Bear and Bird. So here's a look at the stamp set that I'm going to be using today, and I used that wind-up mouse toy to create the spinner slider element, and then some of the rest of these images I had stamped and die cut on Bristol paper and then colored them in just kind of loosely using the Zig clean color markers, and that's just an example that I am showing you there. So to get started, I pulled out the flower circles inverted die, and I'm going to take the largest circle that's included with that die set, and I'm going to die cut it onto a piece of blue cardstock. And what that's going to do is that's going to create the outer track that my spinner element will go around. I ran it through my die cut machine. I'm going to carefully remove the die, and then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be mounting that die cut panel onto another panel that is A2 card size of the same color. And the reason I'm doing that is because I want my track to kind of somewhat blend in with the main color of my card. So now I am adding quite a bit of foam tape to the top layer that has the track that's cut out, and I am doing 2 layers of foam tape. Now, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm actually going to have to go back a little bit later in the video and fix this a bit, is you really want to leave enough room around that circle opening so that your slider spinner element can really rotate freely. So I was a little close in spots, and I find out later as I'm kind of troubleshooting that it's not rotating quite as freely as I would like. So I'll have to go back and kind of remove some of that. So I'm giving you this tip up front that when you're applying your foam tape, you don't want to be too close to that opening. So here is the little mouse, and how I'm going to create my little slider element is I have grabbed a penny from my coin purse, and then I've taken a foam adhesive dot. I believe that this one is by American Crafts, and I adhered the penny to the mouse, and that is going to go around my track. So now here is the center of my element, and I've decided that I'm going to treat it kind of like a circular rug that my kitty and all of it, its crafty, stampy, fun packages are going to be lying about. And so I've just kind of arranged them here, and I am applying a little bit of tape to them, and just going to adhere them here to this pink piece of cardstock. Now that everything is adhered down, I am going to just kind of place that cardstock circle in the center of my slider track, and just kind of test it out a little bit with the element and make sure that that penny isn't going to slide out inadvertently as we are playing with the card. So now I've added a little bit of foam tape to the back of that circular rug, and I'm removing the backing, and I'm going to put 2 layers of the foam tape onto the back of the circle because I want it to be the same height as the foam tape that I used on the rest of the card. Before I peel off that backing and adhere the pink circle to the card, I'm going to share with you a little tip that I've picked up along the way with these slider spinner cards, and that's to use a powder tool. Here I'm using an embossing buddy, but you could also use one of those brush tip powder tools just to kind of go around the outside of your elements. And what this does is a lot of times we're using foam tape, and there can be some adhesive residue that's on the side of the foam tape or on the pop dots that could then get stuck along the cardstock track. So using the powder tool kind of helps dull that stickiness and helps ensure that everything is going to slide super smoothly. And right here I am sensing a little bit of sticking, and so I'm trying to get at it with my powder tool, but what's actually going on here is I've got my adhesive foam tape a little bit too close to the track, so I'm going to have to go back and fix that. So now I've gone ahead and removed the backing from the rug circle, and I'm going to place that in the center of the track, and then that creates a nice circular track for my little spinner slider mouse to run along. So I've just kind of placed it there lightly, not pushing it down fully until I'm happy that it's centered and exactly where it needs to be. I'm going to press it down firmly now that I have it all centered, and now I'm going to test my little element, and whoops, he's getting a little bit stuck up there, and he popped off. So what I needed to do is I had to remove the top layer of my card using some undo adhesive remover, as you can see right there, and that's why the card looks wet right now. It will dry completely clear. You'll never know that I did that, but I was able to go back in using the undo and kind of trim away some of that foam tape so that it wasn't going to interfere with the track. Now while that's drying up, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment that I'm going to use on the card. I'm going to be stamping "Hello Stampurr" on black cardstock using Versamark ink and some white embossing powder. So I've just grabbed a scrap piece of black cardstock, hit it with my embossing buddy. I'm going to stamp it with the Versamark and then apply some white embossing powder. I'm using Ranger's embossing powder, and that's just a coffee filter that I use to catch the excess. And so once I have kind of removed the excess embossing powder, I'm just going to apply some heat using a heat tool, and that's going to emboss it quite nicely for me. I'm going to trim the black cardstock into a little banner shape just using my tonic paper trimmer and then just some regular scissors, and then I will adhere that to the card. So here is my card. You can see that the spots where I applied the undo have dried completely, and you can't tell that they were wet just a few minutes ago. So I'm just applying some adhesive to the black sentiment banner and adhering that into place. And now I'm going to remove the pop dot adhesive backing, and I'm going to adhere my little mouse wind up toy on top of that, and I'm going to give it a little bit of a test slide just to make sure that it is able to move freely about the card. So you can see that he not only goes around the track, but he also spins around. So I imagine this would be a super fun toy for a cat to play with. In fact, I think my cats would absolutely love this kind of toy. I'll have to look for one next time I'm at PetSmart. But anyways, what I'm going to do as a final step is I'm just going to adhere the completed card front panel to a black note card, and then I will be calling this one fully complete. I'm just going to give that mouse one more slidey spinny around the track just to make sure that it's not going to get hung up on any of the cardstock or the foam adhesive. So that's going to be it for me today. If you need more information about any of the products that I featured, be sure to visit waffleflower.com. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for even more creative ideas. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, today. Have a great day.